Okay, this segment now set to take us to the halfway point on the SportsMax zone for this Friday. Action in the Jamaica Premier League will continue this weekend with the following games. Let's have a look at them. Saturday, Monday and Tuesday, the matches are scheduled for Humberland, Mount Pleasant, 1 o'clock Jamaica time, Dunbeholden, Waterhouse at 3:30. 3:30 in Jamaica, 4:30 Eastern Caribbean time. Those are the Saturday matches. There will be no games on Sunday, but on Monday, Harbourview and the Cavalier will clash, a battle of former champions at 3:30. That's 4:30 Eastern Caribbean time. And then on Tuesday, it will be Tivoli Gardens against Arnett Gardens at 1 o'clock Jamaica time. And Veer United tackling Portmore United. After that, that will be, as we said, 4:30 Eastern Caribbean time. So some bad weather heading this way, George, but fans are looking forward to some football, and the matches are now scheduled to be played at the JFF Captain Horace Burrell Centre of Excellence, which is an artificial surface and will not be as badly affected by heavy rain as would, other fields.
Well, I was going to say that the JFF Captain Burrell UWI, so long, Centre of Excellence, is impervious to rain damage, but the facility was built to take on a lot of water. I don't think the developers had the chance to test it in hurricane-like conditions, so it remains to be seen how it will hold up, but I expect that it should. That's the good thing. That's the ace in the hole that the organizers have, because if the worst happens, and based on the storm's trajectory, it should hit Jamaica around about Sunday, they're hoping that by Tuesday, Monday games are scheduled for Monday, that games can be played on Monday, and that it will be good for Tuesday as well. But the fact that they have that facility in their back pocket is a plus for the league. So even if there is a lot of rain between now and Monday morning, there still should be enough time to get the place organized for the football to happen. I note that my team, Lance, Arnett Gardens, seem to be waiting forever to play their first game. They played Tivoli in the first of the two games scheduled for Tuesday. So they will have a belated kickoff to the season, and they have been still in the hutch, kept in the hutch rather, by virtue of the fact that the UWI pulled out at the last minute, and the UWI was to have been their first opponent in this new look league. But yeah, organizers are keeping their fingers crossed that there'll be action this weekend.
Yeah, second weekend of competition in the all-new Jamaica Premier League powered by Digicel, and really great, as we had mentioned last weekend during our coverage, George, that so many non-Jamaicans are part of the Premier League, so it invites more of our viewers from the Eastern Caribbean to look on. Players from St. Lucian, Ghana involved. In fact, Portmore St. Lucian was actually MVP for Sunday's match.
So our friend Tennis in Glasgow out of St. Lucia messaged me to say, George, when was the last time an overseas player was a man of the match in a Premier League game in Jamaica?
Yes.
So my mind went back to further than the last time, because I said to him, well, it was the Rivoli midfielder, Mobi Operaku, who was an MVP.
Yes.
And then I was doing something random and it struck me. George, Anthony Modeste, the Portmore United captain, the title-winning captain, the man from Grenada, and I messaged him to say, oh yeah, it's actually Anthony Modeste. But he was very, very complimentary of the St. Lucian in the Portmore United selection, who played on the opening weekend, because he said he's a good chum of his, and that when he comes back to St. Lucia, he'll be asking, well, you're calling on the young man Tennis in Glasgow will do to buy crazy Heineken.
But George, we may have to research that a little further, because I suggest that maybe Leslie St. Fleur for Mobe United may have been a more recent MVP player than Anthony Modeste, who played several years before him.
The thing is this, Leslie St. Fleur was a supplier of goals. So I thought about that and I said, well, in those Mobe United games, he was very, very good, but there's no doubt that the star attractions were Dino Williams and Owain Gordon, and of course the outstanding midfielders. So while St. Fleur, I can't recall St. Fleur winning a Man of the Match award in my span, but certainly Modeste would have won several as he led Portmore to back-to-back titles.
From the Spice Isle, Anthony Modeste. We're still talking football. Spain and Italy, well, they have secured their places in the semifinals of Euro 2020. Spain advancing after defeating Switzerland by 3-1 on penalties in the last couple of hours. The game had ended in a 1-1 draw after regulation and extra time. Now in the day's second quarterfinal, first half strikes from Nicola Barella and Lorenzo Insigne carried Italy to a 2-1 win over Belgium. Romelu Lukaku netted a penalty for Belgium in first half action. Now joining us to discuss today's matches and reviewing or previewing the remaining quarterfinals, SportsMax analyst, the former TNT international, Brent Sancho. Brent, we have been enjoying all of the Euro and the Copa America for a couple of weeks now, and both tournaments are heading for a huge climax. How enjoyable were those games today?
Let me first start by saying happy Sports Journalist Day to both of you guys, of course. I've sent my red mango and all the other good Trinidad goodies to you guys in wish. But no, I think without a doubt, I mean, it's been a football paradise for a lot of our football fanatic people here, particularly what we've seen so far from the Copa and the Euros. I think today's game in particular, we've seen a very high quality playing of the sport by both teams, and it's very hard, guys, to see past Italy in the European side of things, and it's hard to see past Brazil in the Copa side of things.
Yeah, we were talking about Wavell Hines, who you may know, Brent Sancho. He's a huge fan of Italy's football team, so he was here boasting on the phone to us just now about Italy targeting and closing in on a European title. We have mentioned, or George and I spoke earlier on this afternoon, and there is a tendency when big teams like Italy and Germany appear at a tournament in good nick and playing good football, it's usually hard to beat them.
Yeah, it's hard to beat them, and you'd have to go back to about 2018 when, of course, the Italians did not qualify for the Russia World Cup. And boy, what a run it's been. 32 games undefeated so far. And what has impressed me a lot with this Italian team is that they're not like the traditional Italy teams that we've seen in the past. It's a team that is high pressing, incisive in their possession. And they're not the Italian teams that would drop off and rely heavily on the defensive aspect of the game. This is a team that go after teams. They've been aggressive, played on the front foot. And more importantly, guys, they've played some really exciting stuff. And you thought coming out of the group stages, when they come up against Belgium, the #1 ranked team in the world, that they may have struggled, but they didn't lose step. In fact, I think they would have stepped up their game tremendously. And it was a overall great performance. And even more importantly, an excellent win.
I've always felt, Brent, that Belgium's position as the #1 team in world football was always a false position. And yes, Hazard hasn't had his best form since his Chelsea days, and those Chelsea days were a long time ago. So he's been a stranger in reality in for a long time. De Bruyne wasn't at full fitness. We all know that, but they did have enough to be able to make a better fist of it. This golden generation, as they call the Belgian team, Brent, do you think the sun has set on their ambition of being either world champion or European champion by virtue of today's exit?
Yeah, I would think so. You know, George, it's really disappointing because, you know, we as fans of the game, it'd be hard to think about a team that possesses so many good quality players within their squad, right through from the goalkeeping position all the way up to the striker position. A squad that has, of course, done so well at the club level as it relates to their personal achievements. And collectively, they have done absolutely nothing. And it's astonishing that this is a team, and I would suggest this is probably their last game together, that has so underachieved. And you're right, the rankings is similar to any other ranking in any other sport. It means absolutely nothing. It's a paper situation. It's what you do on the pitch. And this quote unquote golden generation of Belgian players, they just haven't done it. And it's remarkable because when you look at what they have collectively, in terms of individuals, in terms of what they have, in terms of the type of players, the quality players, and they still have not been able to do anything. It's really a travesty.
As a last one on Belgium before we talk Spain, Switzerland, because as we saw at the 2018 World Cup that you flew in here to do with us memorably for that month, Romelu Lukaku still has that thing hanging over his head, Brent Sancho, where it can be reasonably made the case that he's not a player of the quality to decide games at the highest level. You can't depend on him in the Champions League for his club to beat a big team in a crucial game. He'll not have the impact. He'll do it against a small team in a run-of-the-mill competition, a small Serie A team or in the group stage of the Champions League, or he'll do it in the group stage of an international tournament. But when the big team is on the other side of the white line across the middle, he'll not give you what he ought to. And so you can't really look at him and say, yeah, he's one of the elite attackers in world football. Would you agree with that based on what he has done in this tournament and what he did today?
Well, funny enough, George, as you know, I'm an avid Juventus fan, and a lot of the Juventus fan in my WhatsApp group was talking about the fact that Bonucci and Chiellini has done a masterful job in shackling Lukaku at the club level, and they expected it, of course, to move on to the international level, and they were very correct. He didn't have much say in this game. And that has been the story of Lukaku. We saw him at Manchester United as much as many will describe that he may not have gotten a fair chance, which I disagree with. He just can't do it and can't cut it at that level. That is why Chelsea shipped him out, and that is why Manchester United shipped him out. Albeit, yes, he had a great season at Inter Milan, but when it matters, he has not performed. And I'm not taking anything away from what he brings to the sport. But when you're talking about top strikers, you talk about Cristiano Ronaldo. You'd also mention Messi. And
Lewandowski.
Lewandowski, of course, at Bayern Munich. And Lukaku is nowhere in that conversation and will never be.
Yeah.
It's simply because he does not do it at that level.
Yeah, quickly, my producer says I'm out of time, but I have to steal it to ask you about Spain. Tactically against Switzerland, Luis Enrique, I don't know why people don't rate him. I rate him highly as a coach and a tactician. The Swiss didn't get the joy that they got against the French, and then they lost it on penalty. Is this Spain team bubbling to the boil? Have they looked different since Busquets came out of COVID isolation and back into that midfield?
Yeah, they do look different in what Busquets brings to the game, of course, his ability to connect the defense and the attack. But I still, George, I still have question marks over their defensive display and what they've shown so far in the tournament. And I think that will be their Achilles heel.
There you go. Good job, Brent Sancho.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, as usual.
Yeah, and let's just say good luck to Brent and the Trinidad and Tobago team, George, because they face Montserrat in a Gold Cup qualifier later on this evening. Haiti have just beaten St. Vincent and the Grenadines by 6-1. All the best to TNT,
I thought
Brent.
Ango Steve was the coach.
Yeah, he's the coach, but
I'm troubling you.
I'm nervous.
Against Montserrat, Brent.
Listen, Lance, if you're a Trinidad and Tobago fan like I am, you understand why I'm nervous.
Last, Brent, were you ever MVP of those games that we played at Football Factory when you were in Jamaica? Were you ever the MVP of any game?
I think I was, but I never got my just reward. So hey,
you were, Brent. You were. Take it from me.
Thanks
you were.
so much. I appreciate that.